I'm Arlene, host of the television talk show Ask Arlene, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. And as a business consultant and life coach, I help you to move forward in your business, project, or endeavor. So if you always wanted to write a book, but you just haven't seemed to get started, or you always wanted to 10x that business that you already have, expand it to the next level, you know exactly what you need to do, but you just haven't done it? Well, I've already purchased all the courses, read all the books, the Tony Robbins, all sorts. I have several degrees, including a master's degree and credits toward a doctorate. I've sat with and met celebrities and done the networking. And what I realized is what I really needed was a mastermind group of people working toward my project, my business, or my endeavor. So what I've done is met with coaches and met with experts and put them together to work on your project. So join us today for our mastermind networking group. I'll see you there. Click the link below and join us.
Hello and welcome to the Ask Arlene Show, the show where you get to ask the questions and we answer them. I'm so excited today because I'm joined by Professor, almost said doctor, Professor Terrence Coffie, who is a social justice reform advocate and who is someone who is a recent graduate from NYU and is now a professor at NYU. He's somebody who knows a lot about how to overcome fear, get unstuck, and live our best life. So we're anxious and eager to hear from him today. He was formerly incarcerated at a young age, and he came out, went on to pursue several degrees, and is now helping to impact the world by changing some of the laws that we have surrounding recidivism and surrounding incarceration. So we'd just like to hear a quick intro of this esteemed professor from NYU.
Graduated from NYU was a dream come true that I didn't even think that I could possibly dream. They have a saying that says, beyond your wildest dreams, that was beyond my wildest dreams. I grew up in foster homes. My first time being incarcerated, I was 20 years old. You become limited to what you have resources, opportunities to. And for me, and like millions of others, it became a cesspool of life. My name is Terrence Coffie. I'm 47 years old, and I graduated from the Doe Fund in 2010.
Your life turned around in an unbelievable way after you went through the program.
My graduation from the Doe Fund was probably the first thing I completed in 20 years outside of the prison service.
The Doe Fund and the Ready, Willing, and Able program speak to human potential and the group of people who have been most left behind.
Most haven't graduated from high school, and they have experience with the criminal justice system, mostly drugs.
We incarcerate the largest number of people in the world by far. It's very, very expensive.
Hi. And so we're so excited to have with us Professor Terrence Coffie. Hello, Professor, and welcome to the show. We're so excited because he's going to tell us about how he overcame fear, how he got unstuck, and how he's living a victorious life even after incarceration. So guys, the message here is that we can overcome anything. The calm after the storm. And he's going to teach us how to have that calm after the storm. Hello, Professor Coffie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Ah.
How you doing, Arlene? It's so great to see you, and it's so great to be here with your listening audience today.
Great. It's great to finally have an opportunity to talk with you. You have accomplished so much in such a short space of time. It's an honor to talk with you. You're certainly somebody who knows a lot about overcoming fear and getting unstuck. So tell us, how did you end up as a professor at NYU after having been incarcerated?
That's a journey in of itself. But in all seriousness, I actually began my academic career while incarcerated, and it was the night of November 4th, 2008, when Barack Obama was elected president, that I began to kind of look at myself in a very different light. And a little bit after that, I read this book by my friend and colleague in this work, Michelle Alexander, The New Jim Crow. And it began to unpack things for me and allow me to really understand and see that there was a lot more to who I was as an individual than what society had told me. After my release, I got involved with the program called the Doe Fund at the time, and it provided me all the necessary resources, housing, employment opportunity, educational opportunities, et cetera, that allowed me to really begin to find a balance in my life. And from there, I was actually encouraged by one of the case managers there that I should think about enrolling in college. And really that was said to me because I was trying to find a way in which I could give back to those individuals who had been impacted by the criminal justice system, such as me. So I thought that would be a good way because of what, the intervention and help that I received. I wanted to be able to do that. And getting involved with college, taking my first placement exams, that's where it kind of started happening. I scored
Awesome.
Pretty high on that scores, and the next thing I know, I was starting at Bronx Community College, and the next thing,
I worked there as a professor at
next thing I know,
and manager of contract training.
Oh,
great place.
Wow. Yeah. So after winning awards there, Student of the Year, let's see, Phi Theta Kappa.
Stop.
Go.
Wait.
Stop.
You were, okay, let's rewind. You started the journey. Yes, rewind. This is amazing stuff. We don't want to pass it over this. You were incarcerated. So yeah. I'm going to assume that academically, prior to getting into this program, you were not an advanced academically. Is that correct? Is that a correct assumption?
Not at all.
Not at all. You were advanced academically already.
No. I had the only thing I had up to that point is I had earned my GED.
Okay.
That's all I had earned.
So how then do you go from that to being on the academic top list at
BCC? Academic team, all that stuff, global scholar, all that stuff. It was something. I grew up in foster homes, and my foster mother used to always tell me that she used to make me read all the time, and I hated that. She forced me to read, but she used to always tell me I was very smart. But at the time, I really didn't believe her because I was a foster child, and I thought that because I was a foster child, she was supposed to tell me something good. I couldn't dance, I couldn't play sports, I was none of those things. So I felt as though she just had to tell me something good, but that always stuck with me. And I always had a knack for reading. I always had a knack for politics. It's just one of those things that I just liked. And by the time I got to Bronx Community College and took my placement test. That was it was kind of written in stone from there. And from there, as I shared with you, I was on the all academic team, New York State all academic team, global scholar. I studied in Salzburg, Austria, and by the time I came back,
is it that because I'm sure there are people listening who are struggling academically and are saying to themselves, well, I am finding it hard to complete college, period, much less being an academic scholar. So I have kids and I'm working and I'm going to school and it's a challenge for me. How do I overcome this? And you not only overcame it from prison or being incarcerated, but you were excelling. So number one, we said you were already academically talented. Two, what did you do in order to get over that hump, which so many people have not been able to cross over?
I made it my only dedication. It became the dedication because even with I have a lot of friends who are in school with children. I used to always tell them, you have to think 5 years ahead. You have to know that somewhere in your life, sacrifices have to be made for the greater cause.
Yes.
Sometimes we live in the moments of things. I remember I was working part-time at the Dauphin. I had a part-time job in dispatch and I could get overtime to get extra money. And it came a point where I had to make a decision. Was it my future or was it the moment? And I wanted the future. So I ate oodles and noodles for about a year. And I'm just telling you the facts and whatever that looks like, because what I had to, once I made that decision, every other decision towards the future was
subject to that decision.
Right. So
did they pay for it? Were they paying for you to go through the academic program?
The Dauphin, no. I won a scholarship from an organization called College Initiative, which helped me in my first 2 years. And after that, it's kind of like, okay, if you can get here and you may land other scholarships. No idea it was going to be New York University, but I just put my best foot forward in everything I did. And that was my mom used to always tell me, whatever you do, you be the best at it. And that's what I dedicated myself to. It's being the best person and the best version of myself that I can be in any space that I found myself in. And that is the way that journey began. And it was hard. I don't tell anyone that things aren't hard. I really don't. But if you come from where I come from, I knew something was harder. What was harder was spending 24 hours in a cell, walking around a yard. So for me, I think that people need to find that absolute bottom. What's the worst case scenario? And once I had my worst case scenario, everything forward was just pushing myself to achieve. And that was just the goal. And I just have to say that was the goal.
It's interesting. You said once you hit your rock bottom, because I've written a book. It's called 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear, Getting Unstuck, and Living Your Best Life. One of the key secrets, of course, is clarity, knowing where it is that you want to go. Number 2 is visualization. But number 3 is momentum. And the momentum that usually pushes you forward is that knowledge that your back is up against the wall and you must move forward. So what was that point where you said, I must transition? What was it that happened that made you say, enough is enough and I'm going to change my trajectory of my life?
The night Barack Obama was elected, I was sitting in Gainesville Correctional Institution. I remember because I'm that young man who came up under being called a super predator. I was the young man that came up from the South. I was the young man that, like countless other young Black men around this country, we said we was from broken homes. We was born out of wedlock. We was never going to be nothing. And I grew up with that as a Black man in the South that, we made jokes about a Black man being president. And that
I didn't believe it either. I had worked in politics for many years, and I was actually working in politics at that time, sitting with a room full of elected officials. And I still couldn't believe it when I heard it, which is why I had to go to the inauguration, Professor Coffie, because I needed to see. So the congressman that gave me the ticket, he said, Arlene, I could have gotten $1,000 for this ticket, but I'm giving it to you because another politician had told him that he needed to give it to me because I had to see it with my own eyes to believe it, because I just didn't I mean, I want to say we're positive people, but I never thought that we could elect.
I always thought that there was a ceiling. That when you think that there's a ceiling, then you will only go but so high, because you believe there's a ceiling. And for me, that night broke the ceiling for me within myself. I'm sitting in a day room in a correctional institution. Everybody else went to bed because they thought that this is just, this ain't gonna happen. And I'm sitting there, and I sat there, and I remember looking at that screen crying. I remember looking at, I may have even saw you, because I wasn't getting to be at the inauguration. I was in a damn jail cell. But anyway,
I'm sure you saw me on television.
Yeah, I was there crying in that jail cell. I was crying in prison because I was reflecting over my own life and what I believed that society had told me all those years, up to 38 years of my life. They told me that's what I was, and I would never be nothing. And Barack, that night was the pivotal point for me that told me I had to do something different. I was going to do something different, and I did something different, period. It's nothing. I got this book here, The Obamas, right here. I keep it on my shelf here because it was
interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with, because I know you're into literary content, but there was a book written by 3 women who were highly involved with politics. One of them was the young lady who's head of the DNC. Her name escapes me. What was the lady of color that was head of the DNC? Donna Brazil, right. She wrote the book along with 2 other high-level women of color. And one of the things that they stated in the book, it's interesting that you say the fact that you saw the ceiling meant it was going to be a challenge. So for me, I saw the ceiling as well. And they said they were interviewing potential presidents or people who were running for that office. And one of them, of course, was Hillary Clinton. And they were very excited about interviewing Hillary Clinton, and they felt that she was completely in line with them. And having worked in politics in New York, I know that she was the heir apparent. But they said when they interviewed President Barack Obama, and he wasn't the president at the time, they were looking to help and support from a political campaign perspective. And he was so positive about his win that he almost literally, if you read the book, he says, I don't need your help. Because he just knew he was going to do it. And the question is, wow, how amazing. What makes somebody come to the table, despite all the things that we've learned about our country that you and I both have been privy to? What makes somebody come to the table knowing they can win? And the fact that he knew he could win, impacted the fact that he did win.
Yes, exactly. Because it's always about it's something you said about visualization. One of my techniques, I used to see myself standing on the stage as a student of the year. I used to see myself there. My first year at our commencement, not the commencement, at our convocation, I remember being there, and I'm in a room full of my colleagues and classmates, 10 minutes. My classmates and from across the world, Asian, white, privileged, and I'm sitting there formerly incarcerated citizen trying to figure out what the hell am I doing here? And it was there that I realized that what I had done up to that point had gotten me there. So that's when I dedicated I had to have based
on your beliefs.
Yeah, I had
where you were at that point. That's as far as you could go. That cell.
Yeah. So
this is amazing.
I needed something more. Right. Go ahead.
We're going to take a break now.
Sure.
But what I want to discuss when we come back is actually the journey that led you there. So we know you talked about visualization as a tool and a technique that helped you to win at the game of life. Well, let's see what happened to lead you on this journey. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have Professor Coffie giving us the secrets to winning at the game of life. Hi, this is Arlene of the Ask Arlene Show, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. Guys, we are doing a 5K challenge where we're asking you to walk 5,000 steps every day. Many of us are not as active as we used to be, going to work, walking to take the kids to school. We're all indoors. And so we need to have a little bit of a boost and a challenge in order for us to become more healthy and become
the best version of ourselves. So if you've been wanting to lose a few pounds, or maybe not, you just want to be as healthful as possible, join the challenge, guys. Go to bit.ly/Ask Arlene, capital A for Arlene, capital A for Ask, okay? And join us today for the 5,000 step per day challenge. Look forward to seeing you there.
Professor Coffie, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you with us today. You're a professor at NYU. You're also a leading scholar when it comes to social justice reform, and you're now working on helping to overthrow or to change that 1994 legislation that caused so many men and women of color to be incarcerated for very small amounts of substance abuse, and the conflict and the controversy of sending people to prison for minor infractions.
Yes.
So tell us, if there's one thing that you can say to sum up how you got into this situation, please do tell us, because you already shared with us that academically you were already sound. And we generally believe that people who end up in incarceration or incarcerated perhaps didn't have the academic background. And so we're fighting through all sorts of programs to ensure that we start with education early on. But you're saying academically you were already there. So what caused you to be in the situation that you were in that caused you to be incarcerated?
I'm going to read a passage to you and to your audience from one of my favorite authors, James Baldwin, in a book called Fire Next Time. You were born into a society which spelled out with brutal clarity, and as in many ways as possible, that you were worthless, that you were a worthless human being. You are not expected to aspire to excellence. You are expected to make peace with mediocrity. I grew up, I share with a lot of people, and it's never pretty. You know, we always want something pretty. My daddy was a pimp. My mama was a prostitute. I grew up in foster homes. I grew up having to steal food for me and my sisters. I grew up having to fight.
Hear that.
Yeah, I grew up. No, don't be sorry. It's part of the journey. Remember the journey. Sometimes the journey ain't always pretty. Sometimes you got to go with some rough waters in order to, but that's, you know, you come to terms with that because you get a bit more clarity, because it makes who you are when a time of need for that to come. I grew up in foster home. I had to learn how to fight in foster homes because I was a skinny little kid. I had a nervous condition through the trauma that I lived through with my biological parents. So I have had to learn to fight. I became a product of an environment that caused me to have to be the worst version of myself in order to survive that environment. And from there, I adapted as to another quote, but since we're on television, I'm going to be nice today. I don't usually be nice in these spaces. James Baldwin said something to the effect that the only way you're defeated in life is when you believe what someone else refers to you as. And those aren't the words. I'm just paraphrasing.
And we don't have to accept it. We don't have to receive it.
Exactly. And one of the problems with our society, particularly in that passage, is that sometimes the entire world tells you you're nothing. The entire world says your black skin says you're less than, you're not smart. We grow up with these misconceptions of who we are.
But academically, you said you were doing well. Or is that's an overstatement? That's
an overstatement. I wouldn't say an overstatement. I would say what we find is that there's another point where we find ourselves with these two faces of who we are. The one where I can do stuff, but there's another part of how do I feel about myself as a person. Academic achievement didn't make me so much feel good about myself because I still felt that I was black. I still felt like that I was this. I still felt like those things that are some problems
to the journey.
Yeah, and those things actually. Go ahead.
So I wanted to work in politics, and I had an undergraduate degree in government, political science, because I wanted to make a change and I wanted to support the cause. And after my mother passed away, I stopped because I was just overcome with grief. And she was really the impetus for me to run as fast as I was running and to accomplish the things that I was running. Not to mention, I got fired from a high profile job as the first Black person who had ever run that organization. And I got publicly fired. They put it on the cover of the newspaper and they put fired across my face to really hone in on the fact that I had been fired. And that was very hurtful for me at the time. But historically now, looking back and understanding who I was in their space, when the new board came in and they had an opportunity to get rid of me, of course they would. But one of the things after my mom passed away and I had been in my slump, I started looking for ways that I could have an outlet, a positive outlet, and I started teaching. And so academically, I have the undergraduate degree, the master's degree, and I'm, coming in a graduate of Fordham, and I wanted to work in some of the most challenging schools because I believed the route to us as a people making progress was academics. Mm-hmm. So when I hear you say, it was very challenging for me because there was a lot of pushback from the very people that I wanted to help. Mm-hmm. And now I realize it's not so much the academics as it is the mindset.
Exactly.
So I'm right in line with you
because
you can't.
A lot of people don't understand. We can have professional football players who have millions of dollars, have everything they want, but you'll see a mindset that allows them to behave in a way that we would think you got it all. Why would you have to? It's sometimes our perception of ourselves in whatever space. It doesn't. Those things only can accentuate ourselves, but if we're not in tune with ourselves, we have a whole bunch of folk with degrees, people of color, who find themselves worthless in spaces where they sometimes accept that they're not being promoted based upon their Black skin. Some people accept those roles. Some people, that's the rule, that's how it goes. And that's that thing when we talk about having the talents and the this and the that. We have listen, there was a study I did. I hope you remember. I see it at the time. There was these beautiful Black young girls, little girls, beautiful Black skin, beautiful Black hair, just like
the brown girls.
And they did a study and asked them which dolls did they want to play with.
They didn't want the dolls that looked like them.
They didn't want the Black dolls because they thought they were ugly. Go ahead.
I thank you so much for spending these 28 minutes with us. The time is not enough. This is only part one of a two-part journey. And I would like for you to please join us again. Will you be willing to do part two with us, Professor Coffie?
Absolutely. I would love to.
Thank you so much. And thanks to you, the listeners, who we would not have a show without. Thank you to Joe and to Rahman and everybody else who helped to make the show productive today. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, and click on.
Name some things I'll be without you, good. Stop the growth, I bet you think you could. Said you gon' leave me, man, I wish you would. Yeah, I'm different, so I'm misunderstood. So I'ma always be good. Said I'ma always